Today on Mid-Missouri Art News, we visit with Mr. Bill Wood once again from Camdenton, Missouri. Welcome, everyone, to Spotlight on the Arts. Mr. Bill Wood is with us, coming to you from Bill's Art Gallery. I want to welcome you once again, Bill. Last time you was with us was on February 16th, 2016, show number 2. So welcome once again. Good to have you back with us.
Thank you very much. Welcome to my gallery and my store here in Camdenton.
Yes, we are coming from the gallery, which you have seen some shots, a little bit of a look at the gallery. Well, it's been a while since November 16th, actually 2016. So Bill's going to give us an update on how he's come about to become an art lover, art community leader here in the Camdenton area, and a gallery owner. And we have a special treat. And the second part of the show, he's going to instruct us on the development of the steps of developing a nice frame for your artworks. So once again, Bill, can you tell the viewers how you became interested in art?
Well, several years ago, 30 years ago, my sister gave me some art supplies one day, and I started painting, and I just haven't never given it up since. But as after the recession happened, I got involved with doing custom framing, and then also, of course, the arts came with that. And as I developed the gallery and the local artists, got to know more of them, then I became aware of how important it was to have arts as being part of the community. And so that's what we've been focusing on for almost the last 8 years.
I see. So you've been in the Camdenton area as a gallery for 8 years, or? Oh, I see. So that's a great beginning. Well, I know you're very involved in the area here around the Lake of the Ozarks, Camdenton, Lower Missouri. We're talking about this type of country, shall we say, back in the hills of the Ozark Mountains, in a sense. So tell us a little bit of what's happening in the communities currently, and also since we visited last in 2016. I know we're now looking at a COVID-19 virus, and we're taking time out, keeping our 6-foot distance. And so tell us a little bit, not only what's going on currently, but what's happened since 2016. I know you've shared a lot with me, and it's very interesting. So go ahead and give us a little summation.
Okay. Well, what we basically have done, we've developed a Community Arts League, which has been responsible for doing lots of different things. We do the last 3 years, there'll be the 4th year this year. We've had the Christmas Business Hop, which is having the arts involved with the businesses in the community. We've also, the city of Camdenton has signed up with us as far as creating an arts advisory board, so we have that now. And then also, we've been working with the Chamber of Commerce and developing different events like the Dogwood Festival, which normally is this time of year, which we're not going to have this year, but we're having an art contest with that. So we've been doing different things that have been working with the chamber as well as with the city, and trying to make things happen in the community, using art as that basis.
Right. Now, you also spoke of a project on the square. Tell us all about that, and we'll throw some photos on the timeline to show what that was all about.
Well, this actually became the Camdenton Chamber had been talking to me for the last few years, trying to get us to do more Christmas decorations on the square, something that could liven up the square a little bit during the Christmas holiday season. And so we came up with the idea of doing these panels Christmas themed panels. They're 4x8 panels, and so last year we actually got it together. We had several artists come in and give us some preliminary drawings, and then we took those preliminary drawings and transferred them to these panels, and then we painted them. And we used all the best quality products we could find, and so they'd last a long time. And so last Christmas, we put them up there for the first time, and the community just loved it. They just really liked it. We had them all lit up and everything like that, and we had 6 artists basically developed these, gave us the ideas, and then we took them and painted them.
See, now that's going to expand, I'll bet, with more artists involved this coming year, probably around that same time of the year. So how many now is involved in your community art? Do you have a organization, club, or what have you?
We have several people that are basically working together, trying to figure out different events and different ideas to keep that going. And it's just an ongoing process. The people come and go and change as time goes on, of course, like many other things. Sure. But we really do have a real strong, well, just in this gallery alone, we have over 60 artists in this area. So it goes to show you that there's a lot of them around here. They're not always just visible.
I see. I know I talked to you in the past, in the very beginning, before I even, we had talked about doing the Mid-Missouri Art News, and it's now into the spotlight, where we get to spotlight different individuals involving with the art throughout the world. A gentleman from Latvia last summer was interviewed on Spotlight of the Arts. So now I want to get your perspective, if I can, Bill, from the perspective of an art gallery owner. This is Bill's Art Center in Camdenton, Missouri. Tell us a little bit about what that involves. Kind of give us, our viewers, if you can, what it takes to, what do you look for to bring in someone's art? How does that work a little bit? Give us a little summation on that, if you can.
I don't know if there's a perfect science to it, but basically what I try to look for is somebody that has a unique, of course every artist is a little unique as it is, but we try to find somebody that has something that we just haven't seen before, and if they've been doing it for a while, they've enhanced their skills, gotten better, and we don't try to get anybody that's necessarily just makes their living with art, but at the same time we try to get people here that are doing it long enough, they've gotten good enough, and they worked at it, and so that's what we look for. So most of the artists in here have been painting for a number of years.
They're like established artists.
They're established artists to a certain degree. Some of them are more known than others. We have some people that are very well known, and we have some that aren't very well known.
Now you have, looking around in our pan, at the beginning of the show we showed the gallery, you have all types of artwork. So it's just not the paintbrush, but you have others. Anything that you'd like to bring to our attention?
Well, I think one of the most interesting people I have here is actually, he's a fairly new artist as they come, but he does metal art, and I gotta look at his name. This guy here is made out of fork and spoons, but you can see that. But the craftsmanship is really, really good, and so that's what we're looking for. Is something unique, something different, but at the same time is really interesting.
So you have metal, you have pottery, you have wood, yes. So you are covering a great area. Now, so if a person thinks they would qualify, how do they get a hold of you? Do you have your hours, a phone? You would like to give that information?
The phone number they can reach me at, they can leave a message on my store phone, which is 573-317-1010. And what you need to do is bring it to me, let me look at it, and see if I think it's something that will work in this gallery. It's pretty simple.
So basically, what is offered then basically to that artist? What do you offer? what would you say? High traveled area. What separates your gallery maybe from other galleries? Because I've noticed that you're really taking interest in the gallery. Fortunately, I've been able to exhibit a piece here, and I felt like I was somewhat not. I guess we could say chosen. I felt honored. So, how do you describe what are you offering then to that individual artist?
Well, I give them a place where they can be showcased, and that's really a hard thing because in the lake area alone, there's only a couple of galleries. Me and another gallery up in Osage Beach. So really, there's very few places where we can showcase somebody. And so we give them that opportunity, and we have people that travel in here from all over the place, and we do sell art, and not a lot of it, but we do sell art.
They're magnificent, awesome pieces. Now, Bill, you running a gallery, does that leave you much time? And making frames or framework, does that leave you much time to work the brush yourself?
Oh, I tend to, after a day here, I usually go home and try to paint, and so that's something that I look forward to do almost every day. I wouldn't say every day, but I try to paint every day.
Excellent, excellent. We talked about earlier before the shoot about some are more disciplined and making sure that if they're going to make it a part of life, they tend to make sure they set out time daily. And it looks like you've done that. I know I attempt to do that. So being somewhat disciplined. In your exhibit here, who would you say is the most disciplined?
Well, Wayne Dorenbosch is definitely one of them. Probably Lynn Ferris is another one, and Joseph Orr, definitely.
Oh yes, now Joseph Orr, we've heard about Joseph Orr's work for years. I know I was introduced to his art about 10, 15 years ago. Also, Mr. Dorenbosch, he's been on the show, so if you're wanting to research, all the shows are numbered by now, so you can go to YouTube under JCTV, Spotlight on the Arts, or Mid-Missouri Art News, and Wayne Dorenbosch is one of those magnificent artists that has been a part of the Bill's Art Center. So that's great. Well, Bill, we're just about out of time, and we're going to take a break. So if you will, bear with us. When we come back, Bill is going to talk to us about the planning and development of a frame for your artwork, and he's quite talented. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
The magical thing about using energy wisely is that anyone can do it. Turn off lights. Use energy-saving light bulbs. And turn off computers and game systems when not in use. Make a change and we can really fly. Grab a grown-up and go online to energy.gov/kids.
Welcome back to Bill's Art Center. Mr. Bill Wood on the Square in Camdenton, Missouri. Bill is going to talk with us about what it is to develop a frame for your artwork. So, Bill, I'll just turn it over to you. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. When somebody comes into the store to talk about want to get something framed, I'll get the image out and we'll take it out, put it on this table here, and then I will look at it and try to decide what kind of, find out if it's an oil or acrylic or a watercolor, and base it off that. So if it's an oil or acrylic, the chances are I'll just be framing it, and that's all we're doing. Now, if it's a watercolor or print or something like that, there's a good chance we'll be matting it and putting glass on it. So those are the things that I first look at when they bring in the image for me to look at. And so, like on this, I got this here as a demonstration, is one of my paintings. It's an oil painting. So I know it's probably not going to have glass on it. But what I'm going to look at first and foremost is the values, how many values I have, what colors are involved. And this one's got a few. But so I'm going to pretend like this is a watercolor that we're going to mat it. And so one of the first things that's really important is I'm going to set this right back down here, is find a mat that works with the values, because that's ultimately the most important thing. Because I brought this out here. This mat here this has got a little red in it, which is okay. But if I put this mat,
Can I help you show that?
sure. So if I put that mat on there, all you're going to be looking at is a mat, and so we don't want that. So I have to come up with a mat that's going to be, more in line with that value-wise. And so I picked this mat out as kind of a starting point. And as you notice, the values are pretty close, which is good, because then your eye's not being distracted by the mat. And then a lot of times I like to kind of try to double mat things so that you create this frame in the frame kind of thing. So it kind of sets off that image. So if you look at this, the values are pretty correct. I don't got anything too bright so that your eye's not going in circles around it. Now I have a little trick that I do to try to decide if that's going to be good, because if you set it down here like I'm doing right now, and you got the table, you got other things around you, a lot of times frames. So what I'll do is I'll actually focus in on the picture by just looking at this area right here, and I do that by cupping my hands and looking through there. That really helps me to decide if I got the right mat around it. Now I also do that with the frame too. So now I'm going to put this frame around here. I just kind of chose this one because I think it looks good with that color works good with my work anyhow. But if I put that around there and then I do this thing with my hand, I can look at that, and what I want to see is that image popping first. That's got to be the first thing that I see here. And so as long as I'm getting that image first and I don't have any distractions going around it, I know I'm pretty much in the right ball game. And so then I basically leave it up to the customer to decide, hey, do they like that? Is that okay with them? Is that going to go with their decor in their house? And so as long as they're happy and I'm happy, then we can go from there. Now, one of the other things too that we talk about is the glass. Now, again, I'm going to pretend like this is a watercolor or whatever, or print. And so the glass is probably, I got lots of varieties of glass. This is just regular glass. Here it's made for framing. I'll put this down there. It's just a regular piece of glass. And you notice that it's got a lot of glare on it, if you can see that. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it does have some glare. And then I also have other glass called like a non-glare. And this is, if you got in a real lighted area, you don't want a lot, you have a problem with light or indirect light on it, you can put this on there and that helps eliminate some of that. And glass is one of those things you can get from just a regular glass, which is not very expensive, to like a museum quality glass, which is very expensive. And so, but you have a wide variety of different things that you could use on that.
Now, Bill, you talked about museum or gallery-ready glass. They do. I've heard discussions on that. What is somewhat of an idea of a price difference on a regular glass, and then something that you might want to go into on the exhibit in the Kansas City Nelson Atkins?
Right. Well, if you're in that gallery or that museum, then you'll be, I'm sure, a museum grade glass, which, a piece of glass,
What's the difference?
Oh, a considerable. I mean, like a small painting like this would be maybe $10 or $12 for that piece of glass. With museum, you might be talking $80 for that piece of glass.
And does it bring out different, better colorization, or what's the idea of it?
Yeah, usually it's more, it brings out the color better, but also it's got UV protectants in it and stuff like that, and it's just a really super high grade of that UV.
So it's basically a UV protection for the long-lasting piece of artwork. It's not a magnification thing.
No, it's just a clear piece of glass that just, and like I said, it's got the UVs in there, so it really helps protect that valuable piece.
I see. Well, thanks for answering that question. Go ahead.
Yeah. The other thing too, just go back to the matting real quickly, is the matting you want to find acid-free whenever you can, because when you have acid in the paper or the backing, that can really cause damage to a painting or a print or anything like that. If you notice you get the little brown spots on there, if you got an old print, it's got some brown spot, it's probably because it's got some acid backing or something like that, and it's actually eating up the paper.
So that does make a difference.
It does make a difference, big time.
Acid-free that we must buy in our canvas and our whatever, paper, or even watercolor paper.
Exactly.
Acid-free.
Acid-free, very important. And then when I go to the frame, of course, you can buy frames at other places that are less expensive than obviously what I have here, but at the same time, there's a difference. This is a wood frame, and that's, if you're going to frame something of high quality that you want to last a long time, wood frame is the way to go.
And why is that?
They just last longer. They're more sturdy. They'll just look better for a longer period of time. If you go to a place and all they have is plastic frames, if they get damaged, which they can damage very easily, there's no repairing them. Where this, if it falls off the wall or something like that, you can usually fix it.
Oh, excellent. That's good.
So in the long run, it'll save you money in the long
Good
term.
information. So you can, in the long run.
In the long run. And honestly, that's what when I frame something, I'm thinking about, it lasting 10, 20, 30 years from now until eventually that will change again. So always think about that when you're when you've got something that is it may not mean anything to anybody else, but to you it's very meaningful, and it can be anything from a family photo from 100 years ago, or your grandkid painted something for you in 5th grade.
So yes, I see, Bill, that the point is made that that's the reasoning behind buying quality wood frames. Finally, that answers a question of mine. Okay, so please go ahead.
Okay. So anyhow, that's, to me, is very, very important. Now on matting, there's different mats. You can spend a bunch of money on mats too. You have fabric mats and different textures and things like that. That can add up as far as costs go too. But again, if you think of this in the long term, you're talking 10, 20 years of something being framed. So it's very good.
So and your mats are acid-free, all of them.
And acid-free too, so you don't have to worry about it. It's just a matter of keeping the painting and the glass clean, and really that's about it. And then when you frame something all the way, like this I have framed, so it's good.
Give a shot of back and front.
Sure. Now normally this is one of my pieces. I have it temporarily in here, but I'll actually have paper on the back, which is a dust cover. So that keeps dust and other things from getting in behind there.
Spiders
and spiders, yeah, because you think about it, this is a great little hiding place when it's up on the wall. And so if you can keep that covered, it keeps that dust out of there.
Excellent.
And I was going to show you also, let me grab this really quick. Picking the right frame is very important, obviously. And so I brought some that I know will not go well with my paintings, just to show you that, and a lot of artists will do this too. They will, they'll go to a garage sale or something like that. And a lot of people do this, and that's fine. But they'll pick something out that will fit their image that they have, their painting or whatever, and it doesn't necessarily go with the painting. And so when I encourage some of my artists to do, because they're painting a lot, it costs a lot of money to frame, and so I tell them, well, if you find an old frame that fits, paint it. or do something else with it.
Oh, I see.
So you can save a few bucks that way.
Well, this set here now, it almost looks like your frame is taking away from the actual painting.
Absolutely, and that's what we don't want to have happen. We want the frame to complement it. Absolutely. So this would be the wrong choice. Yeah. And this would not be as bad, but I think it doesn't do anything for the painting either. You see a gold frame, that's all you see. So that's why it's important to have somebody that you can work with to make sure that you get the right frame for your job or for your image. So those are the keys right there. Again, anything that you put around that image, make sure it's acid-free. Usually on a print or something like that, I'll put a foam core behind it, and I use nothing but acid-free. That way it's protected, in the long term. Because a lot of times you'll see pieces that come in that have had cardboard behind there, and that's where your problem really comes in.
Oh, I see.
So,
and what the cardboard? Now, what is the cardboard? How does that affect? Is that a lot of acid?
It's got acid in it, so you get that foxing behind there.
Okay, excellent.
Okay, so that's it in a nutshell.
Well, once again, Bill, we're about out of time. That was an excellent demonstration. A lot of great information for the viewers and myself. So I really thank you. Would you leave us with a few closing words of what you'd like to tell our viewers out there in the world now? That's thanks to YouTube, we're having viewers all over the world, and they will be seeing this. So what would you like to leave them, not only that you're on the square, I guess, in Camdenton, but go ahead, your closing thoughts and message.
Well, I want people to be able to come down to Camdenton and come visit us on the square and tell us what they think of our local artists, and everybody to be safe out there right now during this time.
Great. Now, do you have a website, or can they find out what the next exhibit's going to be within the community related on the square, for example? When would this be coming up again, that we talked about earlier in the show?
The Dogwood Festival. We will probably be doing that next year. I don't know that we've had postponed it, but I got a feeling it's going to be canceled for this year. But Christmas will be coming. We'll have the business hop up and running, and so you can get to visit the different businesses and see what we get to paint on the windows this time this time during Christmas.
It is well lit on the square.
Oh yeah, and we'll probably have more paintings out there on the square as well, more themes.
Well, Bill, I want to thank you once again for being my guest. This is the second time around, and we'll be visiting, hopefully, Bill in the future here on Spotlight on the Arts. So I want to thank you once again for, being my guest, and also you viewers for being maintaining the viewership. I want to thank you for that. And my thanks goes out to JCTV and the producer and crew. That's Gloria Enlow. A great crew she works with there at the studio. The field shoots, we like to do those because it's more realistic rather than sitting behind a table. So I hope you're enjoying as much as I enjoy interviewing these artists throughout Missouri, Arkansas, Latvia, wherever it may be. So again, stay tuned. There's a lot more coming to you right here from Spotlight on the Arts. I'm Rick Jey, your host, and saying keep it tuned. And don't forget YouTube. We'll see you next time right here at JCTV Spot on the Arts. Bye for now.